Hello there, Stevie Coyle here from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Nice to see you. It's time for yet another episode of the Friday Noontime Webcast. Thank you very much. You know, for whatever reason, things happen in trends around here. I think it's called the Joshua Tree Principle or something. Sort of when a particular thing hasn't happened in a long time, then it happens. Then it happens again, and maybe even again 3 times in a row. Or something you've never heard of. You hear of it, and then you hear of it again 2 times in a row. There's a name for that effect, and I think it's the Joshua Tree effect. I forget. That's kind of happened in here recently. The past few days, people have come in with tales of woe. Some of the tales of woe are, this guitar that I've had for 40 years is too big for me. The dreadnoughts we looked at last week, big guitars, especially if you are, as so many of us are, of a certain age, prone to being prone. That's a pun, because if you're prone to lying on the couch, sort of hanging out on the couch, and playing guitar, watching Netflix, checking out some sports, whatever you're up to, a big old dreadnought guitar is not going to suit you. A lot of people over the years have developed shoulder impingements, elbow problems, all the rest. So big guitars, for whatever reason, don't suit everybody. Now, if you're a bluegrasser, you got to have one. And if you're a little hard of hearing, perhaps you want one as well. Although, earlier today, a little teeny guitar, the Muth, sorry folks, the Randy Muth guitar has left the building. What a wonderful little guitar. It was walnut back and side, cedar top, really wide fingerboard, fantastic little thing, and it just roared. Well, anyway, back to physicalization as it applies to guitar and ergonomics. A lot of the stuff, I'm just going to take you a little quick tour today through some of the things that builders are doing to accommodate physical problems, and they're sort of not exactly reinventing the wheel, but they're sort of proving that there's more than one way to build a guitar. It doesn't have to have a hole in the middle, and it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical side to side, all of which is to say, take a look at this guitar by Tony Yamamoto. This is his Taos model, which is tremendously ergonomic, wonderfully comfortable. A big enough guitar, it's about the size of a triple O, but one of the big benefits is this business that's under your arm is much narrower this way than it is down there at your knee. So you've got a wedge-shaped body. This is reputed to have been developed, if not invented, by Linda Manzer, and so it's often called the Manzer Wedge. Now, not only does this guitar have the Manzer Wedge, but it also has bevels all over the place. A lovely one right here at the armrest, so that if you've got any kind of this big nerve bundle right in the inside of your elbow there, that if you've ever whacked, you know how painful that can be, or if you've ever had your funny bone whacked, it's not very funny. This guitar is so comfortable. Not only does it have bevels here at the arm, it has bevel here at the breast, and one at the knee as well. So this one just settles right into you. It's got almost that feel of, you know, how a Stratocaster back is formed to kind of fit you. This has got a bit of that stuff going on. And this is a 12-fret guitar. 12-fret guitars, as I'm sure you've heard me say before, but I'll say it just one more time, are really good for finger stylers in particular. Intense articulation. Oh, you know what? I forgot to send this over to my own page. Hang on just a second here. Let me share this, publish it, share it. Where do I pull it? Him to he. I'm not going to find it, am I? Oh, there it is. My Dick Tracy wrist radio here. There we are. I guess that's it. Share, copy link. There we go. I'm going to send this over to my page as well. Things are kind of wild and woolly around here. I'm headed up to the Strawberry Music Festival this weekend, I'm proud to say, to play some music with the Quitters and IR1 with Glenn Houston of Houston Jones. We're gonna be the Quitters the next couple of days up at the Strawberry Music Festival. So I'm a little behind the 8 ball here and kind of scrambling around. See, coil, that's it right there. All the stuff I'm going to be talking about today is stuff that's different. You know, we're so accustomed to see big triangular-shaped guitars, dreadnoughts, because that's what was on the covers of all the records we got when we were young. But there's lots more than just big guitars. Status, there it is. What's on my mind? Here's what's on my mind. Paste that. Off we go. All right, thanks. There's smaller guitars that you don't have to sacrifice tone or volume in a smaller guitar. They're certainly more comfortable, and Strangely enough, with the really big guitars, with the dreadnoughts, the fingerboard width is 1 11/16. Yeah, big deal. But the feeling, the difference in feel between 1 11/16 and 1 little 16th of an inch more here, which spreads out a bit more, of course, as you move up the neck, is remarkable. And if you find yourself feeling a little bit cramped down there in first position playing your cowboy chords down here up next to the neck, maybe a smaller guitar with a wider fingerboard would suit you well. Wonderful thing. So that's one of the things you'll find is that guitars have wedge-shaped bodies. I'll show you another one that I've got right over here. Here's one by a gentleman named Harry Fleishman. This is a wonderful guitar as well with a bit of a wedge-shaped body, but everything is absolutely asymmetrical. Even side to side on this guitar is much fatter on the treble side of the guitar than it is on the bass side, and you'll notice the frets aren't all parallel. They fan out. If this is called, some people would call this a fan fret guitar, other people would call it a multi-scale guitar, because that's really what's happening. With a fan fret guitar, the low strings, the low tone strings, the big fat ones that are closest to your face, are actually longer. Their string length, their effective string length is longer than the strings up here. Now this happens on a regular guitar as well, because you'll notice on your guitar, unless you're playing a classical guitar or a really old steel string guitar, that the bridge is kicked a little bit down here. The saddle is kicked a little bit so that your high strings are actually shorter. There's a lot of physics, there's a lot of science, there's a lot of mathematics involved in that. We don't need to go into it, but the upshot is that that's done to compensate for the fact that a fatter string will sharp up more as it's fretted, especially as you move up the neck, than a skinny string. So that's just so that your notes all turn out righter than they would otherwise. Playing a guitar is never, shh, don't tell anybody. A guitar is never in tune, everywhere, all at the same time. Our ear learns to forgive certain things. But this is another gambit to get better intonation, especially on the low strings up high, is this fan fret idea. Ralph Novak really brought this to the fore, although it's been done for decades in different venues. But after a while, you don't even notice that you're playing a fan fret guitar. You really don't. It's, you know, if I'm not looking at this, it doesn't feel any different. If you look at it, it's a little bit weird, but for those of us that are of a certain age and you've started wearing these graduated bifocal lenses, every guitar is a fan fret guitar. It doesn't make a difference. You know, everything keystones like this, and you get used to it really quickly. So don't be scared off by a fan fret guitar. This one, like I say, has got a little bit of a wedge to the body. It's radical inside as well with carbon fiber. It's remarkable, and a design of Harry Fleischman's own pickup design. The bracing is quite radical across the back. I should get me one of them little cameras so you can see down inside there, one of those little proctological cameras. Takes a little bit of adjustment. 13 frets to the body, which kind of splits the difference. It gives you a little bit more access up the neck, but it pushes the bridge down towards the middle of the lower bout for more intense articulation, a little less saturation. What the hell am I talking about? Do we have any questions from anyone assembled? Are we okay so far? Folks, how about a hand for Shigor, Mistress of the Machines, my own dear Miss Valerie May. Thank you. So here's Harry Fleishman. Now Harry's got another thing going on here. Perhaps you've seen these little sound ports here. Now that's a sound port. That's not a place to put your carrot sticks, or you know, stuff a sandwich down in there, or tap your ashes out in it. The idea behind a sound port, the science isn't really in on the sound ports yet, but the story as it goes so far, while things are being developed, and there's lots of developments, there's lots of argumentation, of course, about the best placement for this. Is it in the upper bout? Is it in the lower bout facing that away? What actually gives the player, because one of the things a sound port is supposed to do is give the player more of an idea of what's going on with the guitar. Some singers actually don't like the sound port because it's too much information coming up at them. And so they don't like it. But a lot of people do, because you do get to hear more of what's going on. What I've heard as well is that since low sound waves are long, they want as many places to get out of a guitar as possible. So if you're sitting across the room and you hear bass frequencies coming off of the face of the guitar and out of the sound hole as well, of course, but also out of the sound hole at a slightly different angle, gives it more of there's a bit of a timing differential there, and it makes the guitar sound bigger because you're hearing the bass frequencies in particular at two very slightly different times. So your ear perceives that as bigness. So a lot of guitars are featuring the sound port as well, and it's kind of a cool feature. I really dig it, and it really does make a difference. If you're playing along and somebody places their hand over the sound port and then takes it off, you definitely hear a difference in volume and in tone, and they're kind of cool. Now you won't find these on old Martins or Gibsons or Guilds, which were sort of the only three guitars that there were out there when I was coming up. Fleishman. Other guitars that feature slightly different things going on either inside them or right out there where you can see them are, looks like that's got a sound port. Oh, this piece. Holy smokes. Well, this one's got, have we got a wedge going here? Yes, indeed. Here's a Doerr, D-O-E-R-R. Holy smokes. See, a little wedge-shaped body. This is really kind of coming in, and it makes perfect sense. And you're not losing volume, which is to say you're not losing air volume inside the guitar because the bit at the knee is commensurately wider than the bit you've taken off up here under your arm. And a beautiful sound port here. Don't know what the different shapes of sound ports do. You can see this is kind of a double, and the other one was just a little circle. And some sound ports I've seen have been in the lower bout, firing up kind of at your right ear instead of this one firing up ostensibly at the left ear. Don't know. Not a big enough sample, but they're coming in. They're happening out there. Wow. You just play 2 chords all day with this bad boy. I should learn that one. Brazilian rosewood, back and sides. Swiss spruce on the top, moon spruce. This is that moon spruce that's harvested from a particular slope on a particular face of the north face of alpine mountains, only at the new moon, when the sap is all in the trunk. It sounds like hocus pocus, but it's certainly not. And this is just quite a fantastic piece. Michael Doerr uses nothing these days, apparently, but Brazilian rosewood on the back and sides. And this thing is just utterly fantastic in every way. If you're looking for a big modern sounding guitar, which is to say super resonant, lots of reverberation, built-in reverb, this one's got it. And dead easy to play as well. Well, just a little quick sample of things that are new and strange and startling and different in the shop here. What else have I got? Some of the stuff is real interesting once you get inside the guitar, but it doesn't show up so well, and it's not prime video candidates. But come on in, come on in. I'm located in Lafayette, California. Do you know you can come in virtually as well? You can always stop in via Skype or FaceTime. I do that stuff all the time. So if any of the guitars here are on the website, mightyfineguitars.com, are of interest, by all means, ping me, and I can do a little demo for you like this, play the guitars for you, show you up closer, a little bit closer what's going on inside and in terms of backs and sides, woods and selections and whatnot. Tune me in on the internet. It's either FaceTime or Skype. It'll be great. Lovely to have a little chat with you as well. So, well, we'll tune out for this week. I'm headed up to Strawberry. Come on in if you can. There are no shows in the shop this week. A hand to Miss Valerie. She-Gore, Mistress of the Machines, thank you so much. Did we have any questions or comments there, Ducky?
Oh, someone said play the Klein.
Oh, the Klein might be making its departure. Is that Wilson? Wilson, is that you?
No, Kevin Hay.
Oh, Kevin Hay. Kevin, tune in next week. I'll get the Klein out for you. It's I'm kind of full up on the walls here. The Klein is tucked away at the moment, but I'll be glad to play the Klein for you. Cool. All right, everybody. Any other questions?
No, just nice strumming compliments.
Oh, very good. Nice strumming. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take it. Well, I hope to see you up at the Strawberry Music Festival. Check in strawberrymusic.com. This year, the festival is at the Nevada County Fairgrounds. The Memorial Day one is, and the Labor Day one is up in Tuolumne somewhere. And I haven't been there in years and years myself. Very excited to go. Going to be playing with the Quitters, which is me and Glenn Houston, and la-di-da. Braggity, braggity, brag. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Stevie Coyle, tuning out from Mighty Fine Guitars.